Hey everybody, how y'all doing today? This is your favorite cousin Chief of GC Radio and also Square Ring Magazine. Today we have a treat for you. We have two fine gentlemen in the boxing world here, and they're going to enlighten us with their story. Today we have the one and only legendary 15th round promotions man himself in the building, and we also have one of the up and coming fierce fighters to get with. I'm gonna tell y'all straight up right now. I'm only scared of this man if I'm in the ring with him. I'm not afraid of him if we both on We Fit. On We Fit, you get the skibbity pops. But in the ring, I'm not going to even enter. I'm not showing up. That's a date I'm going to break. How y'all doing today?
Good. How are you?
Hanging in there, bro.
Ah, man, challenging inspired, challenging inspired. So tell me a little bit about yourself. How did you get started with 15 round promotions, and where did you get the idea from?
Well, my brother and I started it, but we started in boxing when we were kids, and then we decided to get into coaching, and then we got into management, and then the next logical step would be promotions. So we just kept doing it like that. And when we had opened a couple of gyms up in LA, 15th round boxing, we called it 15th round for a reason, because they used to go to 15, and then nowadays they go 12, and everybody acts like that's not a good thing or whatever. I think we should bring back 15. I know it's not popular opinion, but so many great fights went to the 15th round. So we had a couple gyms out there, and then we were going to expand into a third, and I had a couple fights with my brother, couple of kids out there, and we would put them on these shows and move some tickets. And then I told my brother we should do our own promotion. And when COVID hit, everything went crazy in LA, so they kind of shut us down for 8 months, 9 months, something like that. And basically they bankrupted everybody because they made you pay rent while being forced to be shut down. So they took both our gyms in essence. Very commie-like. So we lost those gyms, and then we moved to Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Chief reason being it was open for business, and we started our gym out here. We built from the ground up again, and then we decided we're going to do the promotions. We had a kid that moved out with us from LA at the time. He was one of our fighters, and he was going to be on the show. After the first show, he quit boxing, even though he won. So he quit, and then we had a decision to make. Do we keep going without a fighter, or in an area that has mostly MMA? So it was very challenging, tough decision. We said we'll hang in there and go through it, and here we are. Ironically, 15 shows later, and we're doing it. And then this young man came along, Deonte here, very, very dedicated, tough kid, and he's been with us ever since. When did you start, Deonte? How old were you?
20.
20, that's
20,
right.
about to turn 21.
Yeah, didn't know how to throw a jab, but we did 7 amateur fights, and then we turned him pro early. He went 7-0, 4 knockouts. We started showing up to events. People didn't want to fight him because he was knocking them out. And then I just told him, I said, you'll learn on the job. We might lose 1 or 2, but that's okay. I know we're in the era of don't lose any fights or whatever, but it's part of the process. All the greats have lost a fight or 2, even the ones that say they haven't. But we're 18-1 now, and he's in the top 10% on the planet, and he's got a vicious KO streak going. So that's kind of the long and skinny of it. That's how we started our promotional company.
Great story, great story.
Yeah.
Deonte, man, first I want to give a shout out to you, bro. I've been following your career a little bit, and one of the things that I want to say is that it's kind of intimidating, bro. When I look at this right here, I'm like, woo! I hate to be the guy on the other side, coming from that other corner, man. I mean, tell us a little bit about this fight. How did you prepare for this fight, and what was your thoughts as you squared up at the sound of the bell?
prepared the same way I prepare for all my fights. I just stay in the gym year round. Like this boxing like fits the way I like to live my life perfectly. I wake up in the morning, I get my 6 miles done, I get my push-ups, squats, lunges, and some core work done, and then I go to work, and then I come back here to the gym where we're at right now, and we do all our skill work, our sparring, our heavy bag, all that. So every camp is the same for me, and there is no camp. I'm in camp year round. I prepare the same way, but I like to train like that. Obviously, that's what they instilled in me, and it works for me. And then also, when you look at a moment like that, right there, I look into that man's eyes, and a lot of the time I see doubt in their eyes, but they can never find any doubt in mine because I laid everything out on the table in training camp. So now this is me having fun, and that's what I was feeling right there. I was having a blast at that moment. That was the first round right there.
Well, you know, you look pretty intimidating to me, bro. Like I said, I'm only going to challenge you on We Fit.
Hey, I used to play that too when I was younger, so I might tear you up in that too.
Hey, well, that's the only shot you're going to get with me, bro.
All right, it's on. I'm taking it back.
But, you know, it's funny that you said what you said because, you know, a lot of people think that, you know, they can just hop in a ring and, you know, they can jump around and bounce. And it's a lot of techniques. And I've heard from several fighters that, you know, you have to have the fundamentals down and you have to stick to the plan. And there's been times where they've been rattled, but sticking to the fundamentals got them through a round and they didn't even know it till later, you know. And there's other people told me they got hit and they thought, you know, a Big Mac truck just came by and they don't know what happened, couldn't get out of it. They went in a little room and couldn't get out for a long time. But listen to what you're saying brings us to this right here. So right here shows that you knew the assignment and you was well executing it. So tell us what happened if you can recall this moment right here.
I believe this moment's the first time I got him trapped in the corner, and I got to work a set off on him. But I mean, really, I just moved around, I jabbed, and I saw what he had to offer. And after that, I was just like, you know what? I think I could take care of this in the first round. So I started working that body, letting the hands go up top, getting him to bring his guard up, and that was the beginning of the end right there in that fight.
So he wasn't ready for the skibbity packs.
No.
So at 20, what made you get into boxing at such a late age at 20?
Growing up, I've always been an athlete my whole life. I played in I'll say what I did in high school. I did football, track, and soccer. Football was my main sport, and then soccer was for fun. I did that because I told my best friend in high school that if he went out for the football team and he was our kicker, I would be their goalie. Right. But yeah, I did that, and then track. Obviously, I used that to supplement football. But it's kind of cool. When I was younger, my stepdad we would always watch Friday night fights, and I would always kind of be drawn to boxing, but I could never fully commit to it. Just because I was playing football, I was running track. And boxing is one of those sports where you can't play other sports. You got to just do this because it's not a game. But anyways, I finally got to a point in my life. I had dropped out of college. I worked a desk job at a car dealership for a little bit. But I got to a point in my life where I was looking for, you know, somewhere where I could use my athletic ability while I was young, because it's fleeting. I'm getting older every day. So
yeah, he's really old. He's 23.
So you tell me in 3 years you went from a novice to a professional and with a 17-1 record. Man,
18.
That's dedication. Hey, I'm sorry. 18. Don't let me erase the victory, man. You earned it. 18-1.
Yeah, but that's not on me. In all honesty, that's look, if I would have went to any other gym in this city, I wouldn't be where I'm at. This is because of George and Angelo right here. George is my coach. Angelo's my coach too, but my promoter manager. But the way that they teach me how to work and the way they take care of me on the promotional side and the managing side, that is why my record is what it is. It's not all me. I tell people I have the fun part. I get to just go in there and punch stuff all day, you know. But they got the headaches.
We moving him like it's 1986. You know, he fought 11 times last year.
And that's exactly what I mean.
And this cats don't even fight 3 times in 3 years, dude. They got you active out there.
Yeah, they've the sport's going through some weird stuff where, all right, half the kids don't want to fight, number one. And then on the other side of things, you know, these commissions are starting to deny fights that are like, all right, why are you denying this fight? Why are you denying that fight? And then before you know it, everything's getting so expensive that you can't put your guy on as often as you want. And, you know, you have to find the balance somewhere in there. But activity is the best thing, best teacher. And, you know, active fighters do better, in my opinion. But it's a big deal if you fight 2-3 times a year now. So, you know, I don't think we can keep that up at the pace we're going. But to get here, we've done very well as far as moving Deonte. And but he always, you know, inspires me to keep putting him on because he's always in the gym. I don't have to worry about anything out there. And I just tell everybody, you know, we're always ready. Just give me my 2 weeks for our weight cut because we like to do it right. But we're never going to
2 weeks?
You know, unprepared or not fight ready. Or whatever. You know, so many people are not fight ready. And that's when all the phone calls come in when you're out of the gym messing around doing stupid stuff. You know, we all know how it goes. But he's always in the gym. And I give him a few days off after a fight. I tell him, you know, if the fight lasted 3 rounds, you get 3 days. If it lasted 6, you get 6 days. And then I expect him to, you know, let it go 6 rounds so he gets 6 days off. But he takes him out on day 1, you know, round 1 there. So I'm like, all right, you know, you're back. So.
Deonte, man, I've listened to what you're saying about being focused and having determination in your eyes and putting it all on the line when practice so you get that fun of the ring. I don't know how much fun it'd be in the other corner, but I definitely your corner is smiling. I would hate to be this guy that didn't get the assignment right.
Nothing better than seeing my coaches smile at me when I walk back after we knock somebody out.
That's right,
It feels great.
Yeah.
And like I said, this guy definitely didn't get the assignment right, but you did. And people got to understand, it is not easy. It is hard work. You know, when you're coaching and you practicing, each day you practice, you sparring, you fighting. You're not like me on the Wii Fit. You're actually fighting in your sparring. You're using somebody's ability to make you better. You're sharpening your skills, and you're ready for the day. And when the day comes, no matter how much preparation you have and prepared you are, it's all on you. The coach can't get in the ring for you. Now, the coach can throw the towel in for you if you totally blow the assignment, but he can't get in there and help you. He can only yell from outside the ring. And that's why it's imperative to be focused, get the assignment ready, and know the opponent. So what are some of the things that you sacrifice when training, man? You know, like I know you can't party, but serious athletes don't drink. There's a couple that think they can do both, but that don't last forever. By the time like that out.
Any sport you do as an athlete, you can't do any of that. And I'm blessed in the fact that I've partied back in my, you know, before I started boxing, but even then I never enjoyed it. Like I honestly hated it, and it drained me and made me tired. Like just being in loud environments. Like I don't feel like I'm sacrificing it. I feel like this is what I was put on earth to do is work my ass off just like this. So I don't feel like I'm sacrificing anything in that sense.
Yeah, because I play football, and we have a marketing firm. We deal with a lot of professional athletes in marketing campaigns and things of that nature. And I've went out with a couple guys, and I've seen them where the teammates and family members had to drag them in the car, and they get out and get in the arena the next day and play ball like that never happened. I'm saying, like, we just totally wasted. And they performed good for a couple of years, and then they started getting washed because they want to continue that up, and you can't keep that up forever. And everybody can't perform well the next year. If they can't do it. They can't continue it. It knocks them out off their game drastically. But it's nice to see that you focus and direct, and you're getting assignments done. So when you started boxing, how did that change your life? I know that with great powers come great responsibilities. Now you had the ability to knock somebody out. Cats want to challenge you. You out with your friends, or you at a club or something like that. What is it like being different, being a trained fighter just versus being an average Joe?
Honestly, I kind of take pride in the fact that outside of the gym, most people don't even know that I'm a fighter unless I tell them. Like, I don't try and have a false bravado. I'm this fighter. I'm this tough guy. I can beat you up. This is a sport at the end of the day. And if I was to beat somebody up outside the ring, I'm going to jail. So I'm not trying to put myself in any situation like that. I don't go out to the clubs because I know that that's where a situation like that is going to pop up. So I just mind my business, really. I got a real small circle. I got a circle like this, and my coaches are in it, obviously.
Right.
So, and I go to the clubs and make sure he's not there. I go around and everybody says, "What's this old guy doing?" And I'm like, "I'm just looking for people. Don't worry about it." You know how many of I busted in there? I was like, "What are you doing here, Coach? What are you bouncing here?" No, I'm looking out. I'm looking to see what you're doing. What are you doing here? I'm like, same thing you're doing. What are you doing here?
They're like, "I'm looking for you, Coach. I need you."
I've never caught him. I've tried. I've never caught him.
You can't catch me if I'm not there.
No, he's never there.
Yeah, I didn't think with your personality, professionalism, that you would go out starting stuff. I mean, sometimes people try to challenge you, and then having that ability, you have to go extra and be like, remove yourself from the situation, be extra humble, and like you said, try to avoid those confrontation areas because, like you said, it's a different circumstances. If you lose control and just let them have one, you don't have the same luxury as a regular person.
Yeah. Most of the times they try to come. A few of them try to come to the gym. Like we had a guy who came here for sparring the other day, and he was like, "Oh, I'm not training as much as I want, but I'm really good." And I'm like, "We've heard that a million times, And the thing is, it's kind of like if you're working in the restaurant business and somebody comes in, and thinks they're the first customer you've ever served, or it's true of every industry. Everybody that walks through the door is going to be Rocky, and they're going to be, Tyson or whatever. And then you sit there and you're like, bro, they come in and out of this door all the time, the same thing. And you have to give them the time they deserve. But after a while, you're like, well, no, you're not going to do what you think you're going to do under these circumstances. And it's humbling for them in some situations. But we had a guy come in the other day. Oh, I can beat him, and I can beat him. I said, okay, get in there, spar him. No problem. Sign the waiver, please, first. And then, he got in there, and Deonte took him out in round one. He dropped him 3 times. I'm like, there's no point to continue. You have a few brain cells left. Get out of the ring. And he got out, and now he's quitting boxing. Now he's going to focus on his job or whatever. It's good. That's smart. In the end, you're better off. I tell everybody, find out sooner than later, because if you can't, everybody thinks they're going to make $1 million on day one, and they're going to be this. And well, you can make $1 million in anything on day one. It's called the lottery. Go play a lottery ticket, and even that's 1 in 300. You know what I mean? So, but he doesn't. Sometimes he'll come and he'll tell me, "Hey, Coach, I was jogging down the street."
Oh yeah, somebody will flip me off.
Yeah, I'll tell him. Are we allowed to swear or whatever on the show?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they'll come and say, well, the way he said, yeah, I don't think so. So they'll drive down the road and they'll swear at him. And I'll be like, well, what did you do? And he's like, I just laughed and I kept jogging, But, sometimes, in that sense, they'll try to do stupid stuff, but they're in the car, in the car, I don't know. He can jog pretty far, but the car, they just peel out.
They go. I've been fortunate, like I said, Deonte, we have a marketing company, and I used to be the market management for the American Boxing Federation and cover outfits. And just because of my intellect, I was able to get a belt. This was my belt right here, and I have a green belt. But I never earned one from fighting in the ring. I never claimed I ever fought in the ring. I don't have it. I don't have the skibbity paps. I couldn't. When I played baseball, I caught more balls in my left eye than the glove. So I'm not getting in the ring.
I never tried that sport out.
Baseball?
Yeah, no.
Baseball was interesting, man. I could hit the ball pretty far, but when I played baseball, I was younger and I was a chubby kid, man. I looked like one of the little weeble wobbles, about 4.5 feet tall, about 3.5 feet around, and I can hit the ball pretty far. I would not. Everybody on base would come home and I get doubles and triples. But in outfield, I couldn't catch for nothing, so they threw me to right field, didn't get much action. And like I said, my eye caught more balls than the glove did. So I didn't last long there. I went to football and finished out in football and track, shot put. I do know. What's funny, when I was in high school, I begged the coach to let me get in relay. I lost some weight and got healthy, and I thought I was fast. And I ran relay, and I blew the biggest lead that we ever had, and that was the first and last time they let me run.
I did. I messed up one time on the relay. I dropped the baton one time. There's nothing worse than that.
I should have dropped the baton. How slow I was going, how fast the guys I was running. I should have dropped the baton. That would have been an excuse. But it was no baton dropping for me, man. It's just those guys were super fast, and I was a lineman. I thought I had some speed. I got fast and was doing all this training, and I got those real track stars, and they showed me why track was their first sport, and track was my third sport. It was football, wrestling, then track. I had to tuck my chin. We actually won the match, but that was my last time getting to run. I had to train. They made me train with them, but I never got to run a relay again. Only relay I ran was back to the showers. But so tell me this, Deonte, what do you see yourself now? How do you see yourself now being 18-1 versus the very first match when you got in the ring as a professional? I mean, how do you see your growth, and what do you think, or what would you like to see yourself within the months?
I don't. I mean, in terms of, my record is huge. My skills have come up a lot thanks to my coaches, but I don't feel any different. I train the same way. I have the same mindset going into each fight. I'm just a little better at boxing now. That's the truth.
He's matured. What happens, like all things in life, your first whatever it is your first whatever it is, and then you start to kind of understand the layers of the sport. And like you said earlier, to bring it something to what you said, you're like, oh, I realized why that's their first sport and that's my third sport. And it's the same kind of paradigm within your profession. Your first fight, you think you know what it's going to be like on your 18th fight, and you don't, because on the way there, he had a loss in his third fight. And then maybe he never imagined that he would lose, and he did. And when he lost, he left it all in the ring. We happened to get clipped by a shot, and the guy had, way bigger amateur background than we did. But he came out of the ring, and then I told him, and my brother told him, now we're going to see who you are with the loss. You have to come back from the loss. And now the loss has to happen in order to come back from anything. And a lot of guys quit right there, and he didn't. And then he came back, trained harder. And, as you keep going like that, your 18th win is going to feel just as good as your first win, but in a different manner. You develop different different emotions because you've already experienced the win. Now you've experienced the loss. So then you go, can you get a belt? He's got 2 belts now. And now can you get a big 4? And then you have some champions, they say, you know, you're not a champion until you defend your belt. And then it's evolution. And if you, every time you get comfortable, you set a bigger goal. And that's what we've been trying to do. And sometimes those bigger goals will come even slower and slower. We had a kid that used to train here. He was running a 15-minute mile. He was a chubby kid. He was fat. And 15-minute mile. And then after a year with us, he was running a 5:24. And when you get to that big gap from 15.5 minutes mile to 5:24, well, that's amazing. It's almost fake. It doesn't, you're like, what happened here? And the transformation physically and mentally, obviously. But once you're running a 5:24, your next best time is going to be maybe a 5:23.5. It won't even be a second or whatever. And that's where fighters, some of them don't understand. Your gains will be so marginal and small, but you know, when a sprinter runs 100 meters and he beats the other guy, what does he beat him by? Photo finish. It's that close. Yeah, a tenth of a second or whatever. That level. So you develop this thing where, okay, I won't go from a 15-minute mile to a 5-minute mile, but each time you run a race, now you start to become elite. And, you know, you're like, oh, I'm getting to the point where slowly I'm in the top 10% on the planet and every challenge is bigger. So in that sense, it's rewarding in a different way. You know, the high of winning is a little different than before, and the low of losing is a little different than before, and everything becomes more painful, you know, because things hurt better. The punches are well placed. In that fight that you see there, it was so funny. People started commenting. They're like, oh, that fight was fixed. You know, some comments on the thing. The guy wasn't throwing back. The fight wasn't fixed. He just was placing the shot so well that the guy couldn't fire back. And we dinged him up. There's an angle on that video that we have where Deonte hit him to the body so hard that the guy couldn't move. You know, he just crumbled. And, you know, first fight, you might not throw a body shot. You might just be head hunting. So yeah. He's developed a lot since his first fight, which is obviously the way it's supposed to go. And we have more to go. You know, every time we spar, every time we fight, it's a look up. In July, we're fighting a guy who's 33-3. He's on BoxRec. He's 33 wins, 3 losses, 2 draws. On Fight Facts, he's 40-3. Some fights don't get registered. He just fought in Paraguay. He beat a 20-0 middleweight, but Paraguay doesn't have a commission, so he's not going to get credited that win officially. He might on Fight Facts. So we're not, you know, we're looking forward to that fight because it's going to be our toughest fight up to his career so far. So we're excited about that. That's going to be on July 12th. It's going to be on.
Where's that fight going to be at?
BXNG TV. You know, they're going to put it on. It's going to be streamed. I think you can get it for like $19 or something like that. And that's going to be in Sioux City, Iowa, you know. That's very exciting for us. So, yeah.
So Deonte, man, I'm looking at this picture we have up of you, and you have 2 belts. Which belts are those?
The white one is the Continental, UBO Continental welterweight title. And then the one around my waist, I won that one that night. It's the UBO International welterweight title.
Wow.
They're pretty good looking belts.
Yeah, one of these days I'm gonna have to give one in my collection. I'm gonna have to get back into marketing inspector because I'm not gonna earn it in the ring. I'm telling you right now. So do me a favor. So now that we have you here on Square Room Magazine and your fans are becoming our fans and our fans is definitely going to follow you, how can they follow you on social media? How can they reach out?
My Instagram is pretty easy. Just Deonte_Walker. My name spelled DEONTE. And then you just throw an underscore in there and then Walker, like an old lady's walker. You spell it just like that. And then you'll find me that's my profile picture too, the one that you got up right now. And then follow 15th Round Boxing as well. 15th Boxing, and then 15th Round Promotions, 15th Round Promotions. And that's all our social medias.
Yeah, we always post when he's fighting and everything, and he posts when he's fighting.
Yep.
So
post a little bit of our training, what it's like in the gym. You know, we got all kinds of stuff.
We're gearing up to go to Colombia late spring. We got a little GoFundMe going. If any of the fans want to pitch in $5, it's like a coffee. You bought Deonte coffee.
Oh yeah.
If everybody pitches in $5, we'll hit our goal. So we're halfway there. You have to be resourceful. It's like having a sponsor. You know, a lot of these guys don't understand how tough it is to get sponsors. I mean, he's 18-1, and we don't have sponsors for him yet. People don't, they don't part with their money easily, even though it would be great for their brand. And I tell everybody it's only going to get more expensive the higher up he goes. So just keep winning, and we keep finding ways to do what we have to do in a very tough business and economy and whatnot. But we're getting there, and all I ask for the kids to do his job, and he's never let me down. So I have to keep doing mine. You know, it's one of those things where if he does everything I ask of him, I have to do everything I ask of him too. So
and you always do.
That's right, champ. And 2025 and 2026 are going to be very interesting. They've already been very interesting. He picked up the UBO International with that fighter you saw there, Eduardo Reis there. He fought big names, Conceição and everybody. He's a tough veteran, and we got him after, the regular folks sometimes don't understand. You get a guy who's maybe 14-15-3, and he looks good on paper. Same guy gets to 25-13. He's a more dangerous fighter because those losses have come at elite level competition. They've been fighting on Top Rank. So when we got the same guy at 25-13, and Conceição had him at 14-3 or whatever, we're facing the more dangerous fighter, especially if they're not old or whatnot. And I tell my fighter, I'm like, numbers are numbers. 25-13 is more dangerous than the same guy at 14-3 because he's been built a certain way, moved a certain way, and he's had his challenge fights, and he's realizing where he belongs in the pecking order. And you have to beat that guy to climb in the rankings. So he did a very good job. He finished the guy off very, very quickly in the first round, and then they stopped it early in the second. We dropped him. I don't know how many times we dropped him in the first three times. Yeah.
Let me ask you a question, Coach. How did you guys prepare for the Jose Palmer fight? Was that one of his most difficult fights, or was that one?
Which one?
Easy? The Jose Palmer fight. How did you guys prepare for that one?
Palmer. I don't think we fought that dude.
But y'all fought Jose Palmer. Okay, maybe I'm wrong on that.
Maybe I'm.
I was on BoxRec and it said
maybe you got
PALMA. Okay.
Let me see real quick because sometimes I get their names.
I might have it.
Palmer, you said?
Yeah, it looked like he.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah. That was in Colombia. That's why I'm not remembering him.
Okay.
Yeah, like Deonte said, we prepare for him the same way. We just, if we have tape, that's a luxury. And my brother George, he's the brains of that. I'm more nuts and bolts on the promotional side. My brother is the head coach, so he'll study tape like all coaches do, and then he'll try to spy some weaknesses on the opponent, and we'll make camp. The beautiful thing is, my brother and I are older, but we're not, 1 foot in the grave like, as coaches. So we can still get in there a little bit and give him some light work, some sparring, and my brother can simulate a lot of styles. So he'll watch the tape, he'll get in there with him, play a few rounds, and expose the he'd be like, this is what he's going to do. This is how he's going to come at you. And they'll go through these drills and practice how to counter, how to avoid, how to where to find the opportunities. So they have a great chemistry together. And, may that continue. May we be healthy to be able to get in there once in a while and help the kids out to do what they got to do. But that's how he prepares every camp. We get some, if we're fortunate to, there's not a lot of boxing out here in Sioux Falls. We're trying to change that culture. It's mostly MMA. And there's not a lot of guys that want to spar him. I'm not going to lie. We used to have open sparring once a month. And then the gym used to fill up with everybody because we used to invite everybody. And then little by little, fewer and fewer people started coming. Oh, they spar hard over there. And that's what you're supposed to do. That's what sparring's for. And there's different, approaches to sparring. Oh, go light or go heavy. Sure, you can do sparring drills where you go light. But for the most part, sparring is going to be heavy. At least that's how it's been all my life. Every time we used to go spar at Freddie Roach's or Manny Robles out in LA or whatever, people were trying to take your head off. If you weren't prepared, you were getting dropped in sparring. And they used to tell you, if you can't do 6 rounds, don't show up, So you get some guys coming here, they throw hard for 1 round and then they just stop. And I'm like, what are you doing? You get back in there now.
You got 2 more rounds.
2. More than that.
Well, Deonte, if you need somebody to spar with you, man, on the Wii Fit, man, hit me up, man. You got my info, but I'm not getting
This is going to happen now. Okay.
We're going to do we got to line it up and televise it.
We'll create this thing that will have all the listeners. If they lose, they pop $5 into the GoFundMe. If they win, well, we'll give them a follow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We got to set that up.
Don't throw the fight, bro. Don't throw the fight.
Tell me this. So someone's aspiring to be a boxer and they want to come to you for training and guidance. What advice do you give them? So they don't come in wasting time and really know. What advice do you give them that think they want to be a boxer?
Who? Deonte? Are you asking Deonte?
No. You was a coach in the training.
Yeah. Bro. I tell them to show up every day, and at first don't want to be a boxer, because I tell them just attend and let's evaluate you after a month. And then once they start showing up, because when I was going, it was, back in the 90s when I was going to the gym with my brother, we used to be in Rhode Island, and the main guy out of our gym was Vinny Pazienza. Vinny, 5-time world champion. They made the movie Bleed for this about him. He, if you know him, he fractured his neck, and the doctors told him he'd never box again. And he had the halo on, and they had the screws in his brain, and he was practicing and training in secret, defying doctors' orders. And when they took the screws out, when they took the halo off, he did it without anesthesia, So that's the gym we used to come from. And if you didn't train hard, if you didn't work, Tiny, our coach, used to just slap you over the head, and if you complained about the heat, it's too hot in the summer, there was no air conditioning, you turn on the heater, so is it different? You know what I mean, bro? So,
right.
But I tell them, come in here and show up every day. I'll try to break you every day. I'll try to make you quit. And if you don't, after a month or 2 months, then we can start to view you like a potential fighter. But if now we'll get through that part. And then are you running your 6 miles every day? And you have these guys lying about it. Oh yeah, I ran, because they go outside, not this one. This one doesn't lie ever. But the other ones. Oh yeah, I did, coach. And I'll be like, good. And I let them lie to me for about, I don't know, a month. They come in, they're not even sweating. Their face doesn't look like they ran. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm a dummy. You've been running good. Then I put them on the treadmill. And then I said, well, if you've been running your 6 miles, doing 8 today is not going to be hard for you. So I put them on there, and half of them fall off the treadmill, the other half puke. We had one kid, we call him Spaghetti. He ate SpaghettiOs and he puked during that test. You know what I mean? And then he spent the next 6 hours cleaning the treadmill. So I tell him, unless you're prepared to, go through all that every single day, and then it doesn't let up, it gets more difficult. You're going to have to keep training more, and you're going to have to spar more, and you're going to have, to endure more, and you're going to have to give up more, and things that you thought you could have. Most of them don't last. There's a reason that I believe 8 million people on the planet do boxing on some level. I want to say there's 3.2 million amateur fighters on the globe. There's only 20,000 pros, and there's only 20, 30 champs on the whole planet. But as you get through those numbers, now you're in a division. You've turned pro. You're a welterweight. Well, there's only 2,500 welterweights on the planet. At that point, you have to go through those people. So as you climb in the rankings, you get ranked higher and higher. He's in the top 10% of those. Well, he's now, ranked, I don't know, like 200 on the planet out of 2,500. Now we got to see who will take a fight with us, who will allow us to fight them, who we want to fight, who they want to fight. We said yes to a high-profile fight recently. I'm not going to say names, but they were like, nah, that doesn't make sense. We'll wait when it's more money and it's for a title. So they showed us some mad respect, and we were like, well, that's very interesting. And of course, some people think because he doesn't have a deep amateur background, that he's going to be easy to beat. And because some of the guys we fought might not have, 100-0 records or whatever. And I said, great, we like that. You can beat us and let's fight. And before you know it, now you beat a 15-13, then you beat a 7-1, then you beat a 25-10. And, come July, if God willing, and we're planning to win, and we can win. Now you beat a 33-3. Well, things should start kind of making sense after that. And we might get presented the right opportunities to go on these bigger shows, which is what we're trying to do. You know what I mean, bro?
Coach, I'd like to thank you and Deonte for coming. And let's just let you know that Square Room Magazine is just not a digital magazine. We're like the network and entity of boxing. We have our thing that we have on Clubhouse where we do our summits, and we try to bring everybody together, the boxers, the ring announcers, the people want to be judges, the people want to get into the sports, the gatekeepers keep out on all aspects, the designers for the costumes, everybody. And we'd love to have you guys to join us on one of our Clubhouse dates and come back again. I know you guys got a busy evening, and I would love to continue this, but we got to get a part 2 of this and bring you guys back. Absolutely, brother. Anytime. We'd love to come back on, and whether it's before the fight or whenever you think. We're going to Colombia soon. Maybe we'll talk about that too. So anytime you want us, it's been an honor for us to be on your show. Right, Deonte?
That's right. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so we appreciate the listeners out there.
There's no need there's no need for me, for the magazine and the radio without you, man. You guys are the true talent. I'm just a vehicle for them to find where you are. You guys, the training, the getting assignments right, the dedication. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like I said, we come on and we find the raw talent, and we expose you guys to the public and let them follow you. But you guys are the true talent, man. And I thank you for taking your craft seriously, allowing us to interview you and having the show. And we want to bring you guys back. Please.
We're honored, brother, and thank you. And to all the listeners out there, give Deonte a follow. Help him along with that. And then keep an eye on him. He's highly entertaining, old school. He likes to bang, and so, he's got some snap. We got 94% KO ratio for a reason.
Yeah, and we like to get him out of there.
Yeah. There's not this running style, we don't do the running style. So.
Thank you guys, and like I said, this man's a champion. He has the belts to prove it. He has a record to prove it. The stamina. He has the right coach and right camp. Deonte, you're getting the thing done, man. I love your attitude. I love your dedication. I love to watch you fight, bro. I watch a couple of your fights, and I will be watching the one coming up in July, and any other one you have following, man. And thank you guys so much for coming to our magazine. Is anything you want to say before we sign off to the listeners?
We just want to thank you guys.
Thank you very much.
Deonte_Walker. Give him a follow. We'll see how his numbers bump up.
Right. And once again, thank you guys for tuning in. I hope we leave you better than receive it. A smile on your face and grace wherever place we go. Your cousin Chief from GC Radio and Square Magazine. Thank y'all for tuning in.
Thank you, brother. Thanks.